Okay, cool. So let's start then. So first we'll go through some basics, and then if there is time we will cover the rest. So first thing, we have split it into three parts. So first thing we will touch upon why Python is important and why it is most popular, and why it is being most adopted by the companies, and then we will go with some live coding, and then at the end we will take up some Q&A, and then we have another announcement to make. So that is the agenda for today. So we'll start. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post that in the chat so that we will be able to answer at the end. Okay, so basically, why Python? So there are a lot of languages that has been evolved, and there are a lot of languages been in the industry for quite a long time, and they have been replaced. Most of them were replaced. So there was Proton, C, and there was Cobalt, and there are a lot of languages which even Visual Basic was there. So there were a lot of languages which was being popular and which was being most adopted in earlier days. I am talking about earlier 1990s to 2000, in starting of 2000. So that was the year when the internet came up and the things started to go to web. So there was a different factor to it, and the hardware part becoming powerful, and there were a lot more advancements in technology, and there were more people were enabled to access internet and access Gmail, Facebook, and there were a lot of things that happened after the internet came out. So when everything started out, there were only few languages which the computers were able to understand. So when you code something, it goes into the machine code, and then the system understands, or the processor understands what exactly the function is. So we'll get to the Q&As at the end. So please feel free to post that. Keep the questions coming. So we'll take up those at the end. So when advancements came out, you need something better and more efficient way of solving the problem. So when you take web development, if you can do the same web development in C and C++, but it takes a lot of time, and you need to write a ton of code to do a simple task. So even Python transfers, or it translates into C Python, and then it the process is done. So it translates that, but if you do go with the basics, then you have to do a ton of work by yourself. So that is what the advancement or the next evolution of the or the languages come up. So Java was most adopted by people since it came out, and it was similar to C and C++, so it was easily adoptable for those guys. So they were adopting those and developing web frameworks, and couple of stuffs has been done by Java guys. So even Java is pretty good, but it lacks the one thing in readability. So if you take Python, the readability is the key to success of Python, I would say. So there are a lot of factors, but the main factor to a program language to be successful is the readability. So if I write a code, and there are like 10 people in the company, and if I write a code, and if they are they are unable to understand, or they are unable to edit it, or they cannot update the code, that is a mess. So even if your code is good, if people cannot understand it, it is a miss. So no people cannot anyone cannot easily go through your code and make some changes, or update, or delete some code which is which is irrelevant to the process that we are doing. So that was the really the challenging part. So when Python came out, it was pretty slow, and it is slow till now. So the only thing is that the processor becoming powerful, right? When the processors and the RAM, the size of the RAM and the things are getting powerful enough. So Python is slow, but with these kind of processors that we have in hand, so Python wouldn't you won't feel the difference that much. So when you code with the 2010 machine, you will see some kind of slowness, but the execution time is the same, and you can easily measure the execution time in a block of code. Example, we'll take a for loop which takes some code and take some debugging thing, and you can easily find out the time duration for that block of code to be executed. So there are a lot of things we will discuss one by one. So this is the way that Python is becoming a trend, or it is still the trend and it will be the trend. So the only thing that stands out, or the Python stands out in among other languages, is the readability. So you should take that readability is one of the key factors. There are languages which are which are similar to Python, I would say. The readability and accessibility are concerned, like Ruby or Go, or those are the languages which are similar to Python, which is having a more readability than C, C++, and Java. More maybe even C# is bit more of Java, C, and C++. So it has the base of C and C++. So all those languages are traditional ones. People still use it, but Python is versatile, that any industry you go, you can do something with Python. So Python can you can do anything with Python. Like literally, there are tons and tons of packages, and the community support is too good that you can have n number of packages are available. You can use them to build solutions. So that is another thing. The community backup is another thing that leverages the language by a lot. So there are open source developers who are working on developing Python packages and releasing it on GitHub. So you can easily use them and build projects around that. So that's it for basic of why Python, and why people adopt it, and why it is mostly used or widely used in most companies. So we had a question, right? So from Kavin. So what is the best code editor to use for Python? So I use VS Code, but most people use PyCharm, and I think VS Code and PyCharm is the two things that most people use, but I prefer VS Code. You can use both and see which fits you well. So I think VS Code will fit most people, since it has ton of extensions to leverage. So it will be most easier for you guys to use those extensions and build upon that. So next question, please tell how to use Python for automation and ethical hacking from basic. So if you want automation thing, I have a GitHub repo where I have like 3 to 4 projects on automation. In ethical hacking, I have a a repo with I think let me think. Instagram scamming something. So I'm not sure. You can check that out. I think the description you will have the GitHub repo link. So you can check that after this live. Also, you ping me up, we'll let you know. Okay, then please tell how to start looking for packages. So you go to pip.org, so you will find all the packages there, all the free ones. You will find it over there. So with that said, I hope everything is clear. We will move on to if there are any furthermore questions, you can put that in the chat. We'll move on to basics of Python. So how many of you have tried Python or used it, or have seen people using it, or familiar with syntax of it? You can put it in the chat. Okay. Okay, fine, then we will start. So we'll start with the coding then. There are a lot of things to cover. So give me a minute, guys, give me a minute. Okay, then sorry for the interruption. So we'll start. So people are using it, so fine, we'll start with the basics. So we will keep it very simple, and we'll finish it off as soon as possible, and then we will answer few questions. Okay, so first thing, the syntax differs a lot when it is more readable than C and C++. So for basic, I think this is the syntax for sorry, this is the syntax for in C, right? In C, how you will declare a number. So this is how you declare a number, and then you have 2 lines of code which you need to use for getting values, for assigning the value to the number A. So in Python it is pretty much simple, so that you can get anything. So when you get anything from the input stream, you will always get it as a string. So if you want to cast this into a what do you call it as, you want to cast it to an integer. So what do? You put in a typecast called int, and then this number will be converted to an integer. So please enter a number. So we'll enter 10. So you can see that this is of an integer type and the value is 10. So when you take off these braces, so this is the key, guys. So you need to understand the basics, right, so that you will get everything right. So the string, if you don't typecast this thing, you will end up with the string value. So this is always the case when it comes to getting the inputs. So the input stream always gives you a string, so you have to typecast it to whatever thing you want. So the another thing that differs a lot from C and C++ for getting the arrays is that you need to typecast each and everything by splitting them. So we'll see how that is done. So this is a normal thing. So you will have we'll do the input list. So we have a we have a string, and then what we do, we split it with spaces, and we map. So map is a function which translates all the things, all the iterables over here with this data type. So I hope you can understand this syntax. So map is I'll once again walk you through this thing so that you will get a better understanding. So map is a function where you will put in a data type and all these iterables. So the second parameter should be an iteratable. I'm not sure we'll get something out of there. No. So map is a function which you have. The first parameter is the data type that you want to convert, and the second one is which you have to have an iteratable over there. So split will give you a list of integers, or a list of list of strings. Okay, and then we need a list, right? We need a list of all these. So even without the list, this thing will work, but to make sure that things are working, we'll keep it simple. So now we have integer list of 1 to 5 values. So this is how you put it, guys. So in most programming languages, you have to manually you can enter integer as well, but in Python you need to get values as a string. So that is the rule. That is the key rule. So moving on. So this one is the list thing. Okay. Okay, we'll again move. There are some data types that are basic, so we'll cover those, and then we'll go to some advanced function on list, and if possible we will cover the file handling, or else we will do it in the next session. So the next thing comes to is dictionary. So dictionary is something like a JSON. So you have some key value pairs, so you have some values which has to be mapped to something. Let's say you each and every person has some unique address, right? You have a PAN address, PAN number, right? So or Aadhaar card number. So there is something that is unique to yourself. So that is what dictionary comes in. So when you have to store certain things in key and values, so you need to like have a one-to-one relationship. So you have one-to-one relationship with the Aadhaar card. So you have just one Aadhaar card and it is mapped only to you. So those kind of things you can put it on the dictionary. So this one is list. Okay, moving on, we'll use the dict. So how do you declare a dictionary? So this is this brace is used for declaring the dictionaries. So you have a name, so each and every field has some unique identification, right? So with this thing you can easily map one thing to another. So one has this string value, right? String value of 1. So as like we have it for 2 and 3. I mistyped it 3. Okay. So this is a dictionary which is mapped with keys and values. So the 1 is the key, and the string value of 1 is the pair of this key. So when you need one, you have to use this key. So the key cannot be duplicated. So the only constraint that we have with dictionaries is that you won't have the this keys as duplicate keys. So you have just one thing and you have to go with that. Now let me put it this way. Fine. So this is how you get the value of this key. So you can put it anything. So you can put even the string over here and the values over here, it doesn't matter. So but the key is now 1, so you have to keep that in mind. So even if you do 1 over here, you will you should, so I didn't execute this cell, so you will get the numeric one. So you can do it either way. You can put the keys over here or the values. So but this key should be unique. The first argument of the every value should be unique. So that is the only thing, that is the only constraint that we have. So that you should be careful with. So moving on, next we have another thing called as tuple. So it is a constant list. So when you don't have to alter a value, like you don't have to modify the value in a runtime, or you will never modify the value, we have the keyword called const, right? In most of the programming languages, this is the keyword for keeping a value constant. So the same way you can do it for in Python. So you don't have to do with if you have like 10 numbers, then you can put all those 10 numbers inside that. Like the numbers won't change, right? So since you don't have, so we have the tuple. So we use the normal parenthesis for declaring the tuple. So you can put any data type. The only advantage of Python is that you can have various data set types inside a single set. So even for a dictionary it is applicable, and even for the list it is applicable. So when you have various data types stored on a single list, so you can have strings, you can have a dictionary inside that, you can have another tuple over there. So Python is very flexible, that you can store any number of data types in in any data type. So if you want to, let me show an example after this. So this is a tuple. So if you try to do anything, so I don't think you will have any options to modify that. So you can just count it, or you can see just the index of the value. So you will never have any other options to modify the value, or you can never do anything to this tuple. So this is just a constant list of numbers. So moving on, so we will have another. So let me just show you how to declare this thing. So yeah, so you have a tuple over here, but inside the tuple we have a dictionary over here. So how do you access this thing? So any idea on how do you access that dictionary over here? We will be using this bracket for accessing all the individual elements over there, but any idea on how do we access the I want to get the value of 1. So how do you get it? Like with the dictionary thing that we have explained it over here, and with the tuple thing that is said over here. So what is the syntax for getting the values? So you can put it in the chat. Indexing. Okay, so what is the exact syntax? I know it is indexing, but what is the exact syntax? Just guess it. It doesn't have to be exactly correct. Okay, let me show you. So indexing is right. So you want to access this third index, right? So index 0. No. So let me just show you. So this is the 0th index, and this is the first, and this is the third, right? So 0th index will give you 1. So second index will give you the entire dictionary. So what you want inside this dictionary, we need this one, right? For this one, what you do, we need to have we have a key and value pair, right? So once we are out of this thing, we have the dictionary, and then what do we want? We want this string value. So this string value, you will get it like this. So the first indexing is for the indexing of this entire tuple, and the second second one is where you access the values inside this dictionary. Okay, so when you just give this 2, you will get this dictionary over here. So this entire dictionary, you will get it over here. So when you want to access something in the dictionary, what do? You put the keys and you get the values. So the key is 1 and you get the value as 1. So any kind of trouble you are facing with this syntax or accessing of this particular thing, please store. So this same can be done inside a dictionary. You can store a list inside a dictionary. You can store a dictionary inside this list as well. So Python is pretty flexible that any data type can be merged, or you can put you can couple it with any other data types. So it is so versatile that you can do that. I don't think any other language does the same. Okay, I don't think we have any questions on that, so we'll move on. So if you have any questions, feel free to post that. We'll answer those. So that's it, guys. So this is the basic thing you need to understand. So another thing we have is set. So set is a series of numbers as like a list, but you can do set operations on that. So you might have studied this set concepts, right? You can do some differentiation, you can do some common thing, you can get the common thing of 2. So those are the things that you can do with set. So we'll move on with functions then. So Python, you have this def keyword to define a function. So most, if you are from JavaScript, you use the keyword function to declare a function, or if you're from C and C++, you have various methods of declaring this function. So Python has this pretty neat, or I would say like a readable thing to define a function. So you put in def and you define a function. So let's have a basic function which gets two values and adds them and returns the values. So we'll just do an add function. So when you have some what do you call it as, you have some predefined functions with Python. So make sure that you don't trouble yourself with the naming conventions over here. So when you get add, so user add, so what you do, you get the number 1 and number 2. So return so this will add a number and it will return the result. So this is the basic syntax of how you use a function. So the function has various dimensions to it, like you have this keyword argument which you can pass, and you have this positional argument which we are currently using. So this is a user defined function. I'm not sure we will see it over here. No. Okay, so we have a basic functionality over here, and we just need two numbers to add up. So user add, what you do, you have 10 and you have some 60. So this is how a basic functionality looks like. So you have a function over here and you call it and you get the result. So if you want to store this result somewhere, you can store it somewhere. You can have another variable and you can store it over here, and then you can display it somewhere else. So it is recommended that you store the value somewhere and then you use it. So that is a pretty standard way of doing things. So I think this thing is done. So we'll move on with for loops and looping things. So looping is pretty easier when it comes to Python. So let me show you why. So I think we have this input list over here, right? I think yeah. So input list, we still have it. So what you do when you have to iterate to an entire list, you declare a value called I, and most people use the same I till now. And in Python you have a different way of approaching this list. So what you do, item in, okay, there is a typo. Item in, we have the input list, right? So in this way you can easily access the entire thing from the input list. So you don't have to manually increment something, you don't have to decrement it, and you don't have to initialize another variable, and you don't have to iterate over that. So you can do the same thing with you have the while loop over here. You can do the same thing with that, but it is pretty shortened that if you want to do something, it is pretty simple. You can do it in a snap of the fingers. So that is the easiest thing or the most efficient way of programming, I would say. So when you execute that, you get all these numbers over here. So when you want to have the indexes, so if you like I don't want to print this 3, I just want only other 4 numbers. So what do? You need the index, right? You need the index of the item that is stored on the list. Okay, can we use for loop with print in single line? So in when I started out with programming in Python, so I faced a really challenging thing that Kevin is asking. So this print function always prints in a new line. So when you have to print it in a single line, you don't have to put a for loop over there. You can just print it. You don't have to put a for loop. So if you want to do that, there is a function you need to use it. So this function will add a space at the end. So you will see this. I'm not sure you will have a separator. You have this end. I'm not sure. The default value is new line. So you have to override the new line with nothing. So you will have all the values in a single line. Okay. So this was in many programming this coding platforms, you need to print the value, the result exactly. You cannot add a space, or even you cannot add a single character beyond the result. So you will the thing will show an error. So that will think that the result doesn't match, or you will get some error like the results doesn't match, or the test case failed. So you will have the use this end thing, which will print the entire thing in a single line. So if you want a space in between, you can put a space over here. So what this end parameter passes is what should be printed after this print function. So after this print function is done, it will add a space at the end, so you won't get the new line. So another cool thing, you can do it, not sure it will work. No, it will work. So when you do this thing, okay, so you need to typecast this thing. So what you do, you put in a string. So this is a error that you will encounter, since we use an integer values inside this list and we are trying to merge with a string. Okay, I think this should work. So what we are doing it is, in a single line we are printing it without a for loop, we don't have anything, we just print the entire thing in a single line of code. Okay, so we have some questions. So for if we use result if condition else result, like anything is there for. I think I'm not getting the question. For if okay, you are I think you are talking about the shorthand for this if else condition. So you have a shorthand for that. I'll tell you. So if let's take an input, let's take a name. If it is equal to name, okay, name, okay, we need to print the result. Yes, okay, we need to print the result if something is true. So if something is true, else you print no. So I think this is the syntax that you are talking about. So this is a shorthand for if else. So if print this thing, if this is a you can put any condition over here. So if this condition is true, you print this thing, or else you go with this no. Okay, so I think this is easier for you to use it. Some in certain cases you can use this, but it won't work on most cases. Okay, moving on. So this is a cool shorthand for without using any for or anything, you can just print all these values over here. So this is pretty cool. So this join thing will join only the string. So if you have an integer list like we have integer list, you have to use this map function again to convert all these input variables into strings, and then you can join it over here. So you can use anything over here. You can use comma separated value, or you can just use space. It is at your convenience. You can use anything. So I have doubt about tick inter data CSV. Okay, we I think we can cover at the in the next session maybe. So this is just an introduction. So if you need some session on certain thing, please feel free to drop a message so that we will take up those in the next day or next week. So moving on, so we have couple more concepts to cover, and we are still running out of time. So we'll cover it as soon as possible. So we have a few things. Okay. So we have another thing. So if you want to have like what do you call, like I need like 1 to 10 numbers. So what you do in normal C and C++, you declare a variable and you increment it, and then again you print it somewhere. Alright. Instead of that, we have a shorthand in Python. So it goes something like this. So we have a function called range. So you can use this range function in for loop as well over here. Instead of this entire list passing over here, you can use that as well. So what you do, new list. So this range function will give you a range between anything. So you have this stop value. So those are the two parameters that we are passing to this thing. You have even the step value. So if you want to get just the even numbers, so you want to get only the even numbers, so you skip 2 over here. So you will print only the okay, we have to print the new list. Okay, I think we have to use map or list. So this gives you an output of an object, so you need to convert this thing to a list. So by this way you will skip this one. So you will skip even numbers and you will get only the odd numbers over here. So this is the easiest shorthand you can use for generating numbers. So if you want to generate series of numbers, you can use this shorthand. You can generate any numbers between this and this, and you can have step values. You can even you have negative values over here. You can generate negative values, and you can generate anything. Okay, I think this is clear. So we'll move into some advanced concepts. So we have another cool function called a zip. So when you have to merge two things, okay, when you have to merge two lists, but and keep it separate, what you do in in any language or C and C++, you need two variables and you need to iterate them separately, right? So in Python we have something called a zip, where you have two lists. We have the older list, right, the input list, and we have created a new list. So this new list we will name it as zip list. Okay, so what you do, you zip these two lists into a single thing. Okay, so we have this new list over here. These are the values of the new list, and we have the older list over here. We have 1 to 5 values. All right. So after you execute this thing, you will you cannot directly print this thing out. You will have an object over here, zip object. So what you do, you put a var, you extract those values, item 1 and item 2. in zip list. So by this way, what you will print is, so this syntax that I am using, this string format is from Python 3.8 or I guess 3.8 or 3.6, I am not sure. But before that we used dot format instead of this string format thing. You have a dot format, you have to use dot over here, and you have to put the format thing, and then you have to put all those values on in sequential order. So this is another shorthand that you can use for creating values, printing values. Okay, so once we execute it, So you get this 1 2 2 3 3 5 and 4 7 and 5 9. So once you zip it, and when you want to unzip it, you put it in a for and you just print it over here. So this is a very easiest thing or easiest shorthand you can have to print this thing out. There are a lot of use cases, real-time use cases with this zip thing. When you use Django templates, you cannot directly iterate through all these with values. So you need to zip everything up, and you have to send it to the view, and then you have to print it. So that is the thing that this zip function will be pretty much useful when you work with Django templates. So let me tell you, Django is a web framework which is pretty popular with this Python. So we have another thing called as Flask, but it is something called a minimal version of web framework, minimal version of Django, I would say. So you can learn both, but I would suggest you to go with Django, and or else you can, if you are a starter, you are starting with any basic technologies, I highly recommend you go with Flask first, learn something, then you come to Django. It will be more easier. So why we are using 2 items in a zip extension? So we zipped 2 things, right? So we zipped tool list, and if you want to unpack this list somewhere, so as I said, if you use Django templates, you will zip these things in the backend, and in the UI you will unzip these things like this, and unzip this thing and print it inside this HTML template. So that's why so the number of items over here, or the number of items you are zipping it. Okay, I hope that is clear. So the number of items over here corresponds to the number of items you put in the zip function. So that is the zip thing. So moving on, I think that answers Kavin's question. Okay, good. So moving on, so we have so what if you need to get the value of this index? So we just have the value of the values, right? We just have the values of this list 1 2 3 and 4. So what if you need to get the value, the indexes of each and every item? So we have another function for that. So item in, we have another function called enumerate, which will give you 2 things. One is the index and another one is the item. So let me show you. So enumerate input list, and what we have a key where again we have 2 things. One is the index and the item. So what this will print is what we have done in the past. We will print this index over here, and we will print this item over here. So you can see the index over here and the corresponding elements over here. So this is the basic thing when you have to get the indexes and items. So getting the basics is the must, guys. So when the basic is clear, you can build solutions and concepts on top of that. So I think that will be more easier for you guys to build things on top of the basic things, that if you can afford to take the time and effort to study the basics, right, you can learn any web framework or other frameworks or technologies. You can easily score these. And learning languages like using a tool. So if you have used let's say if you have used what do you call it as, if you are used to ride a bike, if you have used to ride a bicycle, okay, so when you are getting used to run that, the mechanism is the same on a bike. When you get it on a motorcycle, the thing is the same, but you need to have some additional knowledge on certain things. Okay, so these kind of functions are not available on C and C++. There are custom functions, but you have to import libraries to do that. So we didn't import anything, as of now we didn't, all these are directly from the Python package. We have never imported anything. You can see the code, we have never imported anything over here. So it all comes with Python, so you don't have to import anything in specific. Okay, so I think we have covered the most part and we are running out of time, so we'll cover the exception thing, and then we will look for some questions. What can we do to get the first two items of or 3 from for loop? What do you mean by like 3 from a for loop? I'm not sure. Come in. So you want to get the first two items of or 3 from for loop. So you need to have a break statement, or you need to have a if statement to just get the two values. So another thing I forgot to tell you guys. So this thing, yes, coming. So I literally forgot this thing. So if you want just two things, you don't have to put in a for loop. Yeah, that is the thing. So when you put this thing, so you have indexing thing that you can do in Python. So this is the syntax for getting all the 3 numbers. Okay, so another thing, most common mistake that people do is this two, it is for just reference, and Python doesn't take this two as value. Okay, if you want to print 3 numbers, then you have to have a difference of 3 in between. So you will get the value of 1, the value of the index 0, 1, 2 and 3. Sorry, you will get 1, 2, 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so the value of 0, 1 and 2. So you will get this thing with this list. So you can do the same thing with what do you call it? Yeah, you can do the same thing with tuple and set and other data types. You can do the same list thing. You will get lot of values. Another cool thing, if you want to reverse a string, so what you do in C and C++. So let me put my name over here. Okay, so if I want to quickly see what is the reverse of my name, how many lines of code do you think that in C and C++ or any language you need to reverse this string? Okay, I want like HSOTHNAS. Okay, so I want the string to be reversed. Okay, so how many lines of code do you think that other programming languages or Python takes? Any guess? Yeah, exactly, just one line of code in Python will do the trick. So in most programming languages, you need to have this thing in mind. You need to see the developer's mindset. So you cannot write a for loop to do this entire process with this simple process cannot do with a for loop and things like that. So you just need a single line of code and user friendly code which is most readable, and it is more efficient on solving the problem, and it should be time efficient as well. So if I want to type a for loop and then do something, then it takes a lot of time for the developer to develop an entire application. Okay, so I think we are on time. We have just 3 more minutes. So if you have any other questions, guys, so related to programming, so we'll cover other things in the next consecutive sessions. So stay tuned. So we'll take a few questions if you have any, or else I think that's it for the day. So related to programming or career or whatever it can be, we'll take a few questions and then we will close this session. Okay, we have a question. Fine with some basic concepts in syntax, but I have some trouble to look further and where to search to make me good at advanced concept. So if you want to learn advanced concept, I highly recommend you go through documentation. So we will cover those advanced concepts over here as well. So we have weekly session planned. So we have another guy, maybe tomorrow he is going to talk a lot on Python and AI. So we have another session planned, so that we will cover all the basic concepts from the scratch. So this is the introductory, it is an introductory session kind of a thing, and we will cover those advanced concepts. So if you want to learn some advanced concepts, you try to solve problems, you will eventually learn those advanced concepts by yourself. Okay, so there are tons of concepts in Python. We still haven't covered, let me show you what are the things that we haven't covered. We have classes, we have oops concepts over there, we have reflection, we have file handling over here, and handling JSON formats, and what else we have exceptions. Now there are a lot of concepts we need to cover, but this is, if you want to learn further, then you have to go with the documentation. So if you go to python.org, you will get all the concepts or all the things that Python can do. That is the easiest way of learning things. Or otherwise you can go to these platforms where you have this coding practice sessions on TechGeek you can take, or Leap Code is now becoming popular, with most people use that, and you can use even HackerRank or HackerEarth. That is up to your convenience. But if you want to learn advanced concept, you need to cover those first, and then you have to build some projects around that. So if I cover class today, you will eventually forget all those concepts. So when you cover class, you need to build some you need to build some project around that, a simple one, that can be a retail app which takes in some data and which process a bill. So that can be anything with those kind of concepts. So when you start preparing for concepts or advanced concepts, you need to build something so that you remember those concepts by yourself. Okay, so when you remember things in that way, even if you are out of touch with programming and other things, you will easily pick up when you remember those concepts with the projects or the things that you have built. Okay, I think that is the easiest thing to learn advanced concepts. I hope that answers your question. Okay, that's it guys. So I don't see any questions coming up, so let's continue. So we will cover basic concepts over here, and then we will take up other advanced concepts, and we will build some products as well. So I am planning for a session on building projects with Django. So we are here to cover the basics, so we'll cover first the basics, and then we thought of moving into other advanced concepts as Kavin asked. So we are here to cover those. So if you want to learn those things in advance, there are a lot of tutorials available, you can learn via that, but we will cover step by step, so you will get a fresh start with Python. So I will tell you what are the mistakes that you will make when building a simple application kind of a thing, or like building a simple project. Okay, so from next time what we will do is we will build another project, okay, and then we will explain the concepts via that. So for this class concept, class and oops, we will have a simple project. It's not a big one, it is a simple thing, but we will use these concepts to build that, since you will remember those easily if you are doing that. And then remembering this thing is very easy when you map things with live project, and you can put it in the GitHub as well. So that is another advantage that you can have. Okay, so I think that's it for today. So any other question, guys? Any other questions that you want to ask? If you have, please feel free to post that. And another thing, if you are willing to take up freelance projects, or if you want to do some real world projects, you can definitely reach me out when you have some basics covered. So we'll help you out with that as well, so in the future. So if you are really interested, and if you have started coding well, and if you have that skill, then you can easily pick up that as well. Okay then, guys, take care of your health. We'll meet you next time. See you.